wish out a penny thrown in a fountain that you'll be financially secure in the future. Jim and Alex from Planned Futures Financial have all the answers you'll need to get there. Let's see what they have to say about succession planning.
There are four options when it comes to retirement. Either you retire the traditional way, going into retirement, or you might want to retire before the traditional retirement age. Maybe you'll sell the business at the age of 55 and enjoy the next 40 years, or you pass away, so you have to plan for that as well. And then the fourth point is disability. So if you become disabled and you can't work anymore, you have to be prepared for that as well.
Essentially, there's three different types of buy-sell agreements. The first one is called cross-purchase. The second one is called entity purchase or a stock redemption. And then the third is what's called a wait and see. And the description of a buy-sell agreement that's set up for cross-purchase is typically done between two shareholders, but it need not be two, it can be more than that. And the basic definition of cross-purchase means that the individual practitioner buys out the other practitioner. And so it's done on a personal level. The second one is a stock redemption or an entity agreement where the shares of the person who's exiting the business are redeemed, and they go from a status of a common stock and they become treasury stock. And then the third one, as its name implies, is a wait and see, where the document is written in such a way that not knowing what the future holds, at the time of the actual transaction, it's determined whether or not there's going to be a buy-sell that's done cross-purchase or a stock redemption. And so quite often that's used basically to hedge one's bet. It's not uncommon for a younger associate to buy out an older associate. And quite often when that occurs, the younger associate doesn't have sufficient funds to actually complete the buyout. So hopefully there's a down payment of some sort. And part of the reason for doing prior planning is to accumulate a down payment in advance of the time when the trigger is pulled and the buyout commences. But that rarely is the situation where there's sufficient money to buy that exiting partner out completely at that time. So that involves borrowing. And so typically the exiting shareholder can hold the paper, as it were, where they become the creditor, or go into the bank and some lending institution. But we've even seen it where there's intra-family loans that are done, where the buying associate has some relatives that will front the money, and then it can be a win-win situation for them where they have money that's not being well invested, and so by loaning it to the person that's buying into the business, they'll have the ability to get a return on their money, and it's an easier opportunity for the young person. And then there's sometimes outside investors where they will see an opportunity in buying into the business by investing in the business. And of course, there's some restrictions with regard to professional corporations and things like that have to be navigated. But there is an opportunity for outside investors to participate.
So there are two types of funding vehicles when it comes to funding a buy-sell agreement. It's usually a term policy with a investment vehicle, but more commonly used is a permanent life policy, known as high cash value life insurance policy, because it has a cash value component which is used as a sinking fund build up the cash for the down payment with the anticipation that, in 5 years, 10 years, I'm going to purchase out my partner. And then you also have the waiver of premium, which is a disability rider in case a partner becomes disabled. Then you have a disability waiver in case your partner becomes, or yourself, you become disabled. The contributions into the policy are waived and taken care of by the insurance company on your behalf.
As we mentioned before, the 4 reasons for someone exiting a business are retirement, which is predictable, but also terminating before retirement, death, and disability. And a well-designed buy-sell agreement also includes a disability product, which is called disability buy-sell. And the way that it works is if an individual becomes disabled, there's a certain window of time where that disabled individual might wind up coming back. And so a policy is set up in such a way that it's usually either 6 months, 1 year, or 18 months that the disabled person will have the opportunity to come back. But if that individual is not well enough to come back, then the buyout is triggered, and this disability policy will either pay out a lump sum to buy out that person's shares, or it will provide a down payment and then typically a 5-year payout, or just the 5-year payout. So it can be designed in several different ways, but it is the contingency of disability that is very frequently occurs in the medical professions, but often is not part of a designed buy-sell agreement. And we find when we review them, quite often that's a missing element.